Hey everyone, welcome to your first lesson. These are pretty quick, all right? I try to make them like 5-10 minutes long, but you should pause, take notes, digest a little bit. Also, on the bottom right here, there's a little closed captioning. If you click on closed captioning, you can read what I say. Also, there's an auto translate feature. It's great for any YouTube video, especially if you don't speak English. Awesome stuff, okay? So today, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be talking about something that if you took physics already, you know plenty about, and that's variables and research questions, okay? So goal for today is that you can identify the independent, dependent, and controlled variables of an experiment, and then use that information to write a research question. Cool? Cool. So what is a variable? Well, a variable is something that can change, right? And you've probably heard about it in math, and it's represented by a letter. So if, in math, if you saw y equals 3x plus 4, x is a variable, y is a variable, all right? But in science, we're doing experiments, and we have three basic types of variables. We have the independent variable, the dependent variable, and then a bunch of controlled variables, okay? So we're gonna learn about these, what they are, and how to identify them. Cool? Cool. So I'm going to be using this example for the next few slides, and that is about a paper airplane. I want to do an experiment about paper airplanes and how they fly. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to identify all the things I can change about a paper airplane. Okay, well, I can change the length of the plane, the paper that is used. I can use like construction paper or like tissue paper, the design, how hard you throw it, the size of the wings, plenty of different things. Okay, these are all things that I can change about the airplane. Okay, next thing is I want to think about some things that I can measure about the airplane. Okay, and how it flies. So I can measure the distance it flies, the height it gets, the time in the air, and the speed. Okay, so these are all things that I can change, and these are all things that I can measure. Okay, these things will affect these things. If I change the length of the plane, it might change how far it goes or how high it goes. Okay, so first thing is you could only pick one independent variable, one thing to change. Everything else in that column becomes controlled variables. Okay, so let's say for this experiment, I'm going to change the length of the plane. This is my independent variable. All of these remain controlled. Okay, so I'm going to make one really short and one really long and see how it affects the distance that it flies. I'm going to keep the paper the same. I'm going to keep the design, like how I fold it, the same, how hard I throw it the same, the size of the wings. All of these things are going to remain the same, and these are my controlled variables. But I'm going to change the length of the plane and see how far it goes. Okay, this is my independent variable, and it affects my dependent variable right here. Okay, so again, independent variable, the length of the plane, that's what I'll be changing. The dependent variable is the distance the plane flies, what you'll be measuring. And the controlled variables are all these that I'm not changing. The paper that is used, the design, how hard you throw it, the size, I will not be changing those. I have to keep them controlled, okay? So once I've identified these, I can then write my research question. Now the research question in physics is a little bit more specific than in like middle school and other classes that you may have taken, okay? It's basically what you are trying to figure out. And in physics, there's a couple different ways that we recommend writing them in Beaverton School District. One is, what is the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable of whatever you're working with? So for example, what is the relationship between the size of the wing and the distance a paper airplane flies? I name both of my variables, okay? In this class, I want the research question to include the name of the variables, okay? Or here's another way to phrase it. How does the independent variable affect the dependent variable of, so for example, how does the size of wing affect the distance a paper airplane flies? Okay, so these right here would be your research questions. That's it. That's all I'm teaching you today. This is a review. This is a pretty heavy review. Okay, so today, what you should have been doing is maybe watch my little intro video, take a little survey, do a little discussion post. This is where you'll find the link to this. And then there's a little assignment. Takes about 25 minutes. To be honest, probably only about 15 minutes. And then there's a little quiz. That's that. All right. Now, I'm going to be doing some of these classes live, but I'll send you the times and all that kind of good stuff. Send me an email if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you next time.